survey, which was conducted over 30,000 households, shows that the confidence in the police and the courts is slowly declining.
If you look at levels of satisfaction, white households feel much more satisfied with police response, whereas only 33% amongst blacks, almost half, feel satisfied with their police response.
Most crimes have decreased, but shockingly, sexual assault drastically increased by 117%.
Just taking a look at the overall statistics for 2016 and 2017, the crime statistics that is, the household break-ins have decreased from 4.9% to 4%. The next statistic there, home robberies have also decreased from 1.59% to 0.80%. The next statistic there, murder from 0.15% to 0.10%, also a decrease there. Assault has decreased from 0.96% to 0.70%. Theft of personal property from 2.47% to 1.52%. That's also another decrease. Now, taking a look at those that has actually increased, sexual offences have increased by 117%, which is very shocking. And then hijackings have increased 93%, which is also a very, very shocking statistics.
The survey shows that crimes experienced by households and individuals aged from 16 years has decreased. Household experiences of crime range from housebreaking, which is at 52.9%, theft of livestock at 11.3%, home robbery and theft of motor vehicles just below 10%.
I believe that crime in South Africa is highly increased. I was reading on the news yesterday that in KZN it has increased badly. So yeah, it has increased.
Crime is increasing almost every day. When the economy of the country sucks, the crime increases almost every year. This year has been worse.
The Crime Stats survey further revealed that 84% of cell phones were stolen by criminals, 51.3% of cash and 17.5% of bank cards and books were stolen. Inasmuch as crime trends have decreased, the confidence in the police and the courts has sharply decreased. Muipone Ramutole, ANN7, Pretoria.
So as we reflect on the crime statistics as released by Stats SA, we ask you whether you feel a little bit safer and whether you can sleep easier or lighter. We have our first caller on the line, John from Brongaspreid. Good evening to you.
Good evening. I just want to find out, was this survey being done on actual stats or was it just a normal survey?
I think the methodology would be gathering data from various police stations in how, the reporting of crime, or rather how many more crimes were reported in the period under review, and also doing a confidence survey amongst citizens on whether they feel safer or not. But I can't speak on behalf of Stats SA. John, why do you ask?
The reason why is I feel that there is a high rise in especially farm murders. Now the question is that included in that stats?
All right, we'll have to get that response for you. So you're not feeling any safer necessarily based on the increase at least of contact crimes and a slight decrease in other forms of crime?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Bronkhorstspruit, it's a small town. I moved here to Bronkhorstspruit 4 years ago. And the crime rate is extremely high this side.
All right, John, as I said, the methodology I'm not entirely sure of. And I hope that you're at least reporting the crimes there and that you have formal structures like your community policing forum that you participate in as well, because it is a societal problem. But thanks for your call. The lines are open 011-542-2186. In studio, we have Mpho Kwinika. He's the president of the South African Policing Union. Good evening to you, and thanks so much for joining us. I mean, an increase in sexual offences, 117% over the past year. These are very alarming statistics. And considering the proximity of the offender, it's also known that at least 80% of those crimes are committed in intimate environments. So how then does the police assist in preventing those kind of crimes?
Yeah. Look, I think our membership are doing everything they can, under the current circumstances. the police budget has been cut. There is a lot of things that is happening there in the police. But having said this, it should not be construed from the truth that the crime stats are increasing because police officials are not doing anything. They are doing a lot. They are doing what they are supposed to be doing. But the issues of contact crime, these are crimes which suspects comes face to face with the victims. And it is a very horrible crime, and I think we need to do anything at our disposal to try and control this.
So beyond police visibility, how can primarily women and children feel safe in the country if, one, there is a perennial problem around violence generally, and secondly, there isn't any deterrent where an offender wouldn't want to commit a crime because they can see the law enforcement is close at hand?
But these are moral issues, isn't it? South Africans need to rally with one another and make sure that we are safe. Remember, the police will never be in your house. The police will never be in certain spaces. They are really, not allowed to be in certain proximities. But this work of policing in our country will need the participation of all, including the societies whom we as police officers, protect. But police officers have got a role to play as well. Those roles need to be known to the society and to make sure that societies knows the role which they have to play to assist the police in combating crime.
But this would be post the fact. I think in terms of vigilance and creating awareness so that you're not a sitting duck or you are too vulnerable to crime or criminals. So households, number one, don't seem to have confidence in the South African police. There's also been allegations of rogue police being misconstrued as being proper representatives of the police. So is it your job then to go to communities and say, please trust us, we are here to protect and serve you?
Look, we have got reactive policing and proactive policy. What we are talking about now is the issues of proactive policy. Most of the budget of the police, and I don't want to speak on their behalf, but that's what is the information which we have, is that it goes towards proactive policy. But proactive policing, if it is properly managed in our country, it has got a potential of reducing the issues of crime, and especially contact crime, because it makes sure that it creates awareness. Not only awareness after the crime has been committed, because then the reactive part of policing get involved.
All right, just elaborate a little bit more on the proactive policing. Are you saying at the moment police essentially are waiting for an emergency call, then only dispatch the vehicles and the personnel?
No. Proactive policing involves people who are visible, police officials that wears uniform, the vans that are marked, the visibility of police officers in the build-up areas, such as residential areas, business areas, and even on the roads. When criminals see the oversaturated environment by police officials, that becomes a deterrent to any crime that needs to be committed. So we need to up that kind of an evil. And then reactive policing, it is not going to help you much, because reactive policing only comes in after the crime has been committed. But it has got a role to play. The role to play, it means if detective services have got a successful prosecution of those criminals that are involved in the commission of an offense, that acts as a deterrent, which means that the people that are going to be criminals in the future will have a fear that they may be arrested and thrown in jail.
All right, Mr. Kunika, let's take another caller. Bob, calling us from eThekwini. Good evening to you. And what's your comment or question?
Hi, Cindy. I'm very grateful to get to you. I've been trying for many times, but eventually I did.
You're welcome. I almost gave you a drum roll there, Bob, but what's your comment or question?
Cindy, I've been noticing, our police stations around in the area where I live, when you phone them and they always don't have vehicles, they will never come there on time, but yet you drive around, in the area, you find them at shopping centers, they're doing their, you see the police vehicles parked there, they are doing their daily shopping. Then you go by Chicken Liquor and you see them there. They're sitting and buying the stuff. I mean, with police vehicles. And yet when you phone the police station and you got a complaint or you got a serious problem, they'll tell you, sorry, as soon as we have a vehicle, we will come and attend to you. They don't have any vehicles, so I don't understand why. But there are vehicles parked.
But Bob, have you taken this up with IPID, who's supposed to be policing police behavior, or even reporting to the commissioner at the particular police station?
Yeah, no. In fact, I haven't. Need to be honest, I haven't.
Yeah. So I think that, the core is that it is a societal problem. None of us can sleep any easier with these alarming statistics coming out. I mean, it's a very marginal decrease in murder, hijacking, etc. But the biggest concern is what happens behind closed doors, because we're also hypocritical as South Africans, pointing at who does all these atrocious things. In the meantime, we're also perpetrators thereof. Bob, thanks so much. And Kathy in Rustenburg will join us in a bit. So just to respond to Bob in that it seems that there's more leisure time for police and activities, recreational stuff, being a chicken licking, etc.
No, look, South Africans want to get involved in operational issues. South Africans want to get on administrative issues of policing. I think that is not their place. Their place is when they report a crime and they see a vehicle that is in front of them not responding to the crime that they have requested assistance on. They have the right to report that. But remember, Cindy, police vehicles have got AVLs. When a crime is committed and is reported to the centers, they call the 1011 centers, it tells them the nearest vehicle to respond to that crime. And if that vehicle that is in front of you is the is closest vehicle to you, that is the vehicle, they will call it to come and respond to that crime. The vehicles going to ShopRite, vehicles going to KFCs, they eat the human beings too. And we are trying very hard, Cindy, to make sure that the police moves away from issues of military, the demilitarization of the police, and allow police officials to interact with the society so that societies start to begin to know what kind of people are police officials.
Well, we'll talk about the fault lines, as you're saying, that the distrust between communities and police, that there could be better interaction or mediation between the two. Lindsay in the Eastern Cape, good evening to you, and thanks for joining us.
Hi, Cindy. Listen, I just want to ask the gentleman there, if somebody comes into my home with a screwdriver, am I allowed to shoot him? Second of all, somebody jumped over my wall, I chased them, Atlas came, the cops came an hour later. So you mustn't say we must interact with the police because they're never around. I don't know what they do, but they're never around. They don't do their jobs. My son was held up on the beachfront. I had to take him to the police station to report it. There were cop cars at the roadhouse while he was being held up with a knife. So really, this whole police story that they're doing their jobs, they're not.
Well, Lindsay,
it's
I think
it's
and I hear you, and it's very unfortunate, but thank goodness that your son is safe. I think, taking a proactive approach to it, and the registration number of the offending police officer and reporting them would be a start. But thanks so much for calling. We have Kathy in Rustenburg. Good evening to you, Kathy.
Hi. I'd like to ask, is it right with the number of the decrease? Because I don't think most of the cases are being reported, especially here in Rustenburg in town. There are most people being robbed every day. And someone was even thrown from his car, from the window. And people were only watching.
Yeah. Kathy, you raise a very important point. Thank you so much. The spectator value around an incident where people would rather take a picture or not react or come to the aid of that person who's being attacked is a societal issue. I don't know whether it's out of fear or rather self-preservation for your own life. But let's firstly, before you respond to that, again, it comes up. 52% of households that were surveyed say they don't have confidence in the police. Yeah. And Lindsay saying, what do we do as citizens? What does the law permit us to do if you are violated in your own home? Can you shoot at will?
Look, you may use private defense, to look after your life and the lives of the others. But Section 40, she used this a screwdriver. The law says that the force or violence meted out against you should be equated to the violence which you are going to mete it against the very same person. It now rests in the courts once this action or conduct has taken place. The courts then will then measure it and say, were you supposed to have used the gun? Were you supposed to have used, an axe or whatever kind of an instrument that you will have used? That remains in the court. But the issue of the public not having confidence in the police, I think this is coming for the second time now, a year in a row. It is a terrible indictment on the police, and I think the police must take this very, very seriously, one. And secondly, they must take it as an instrument that is trying to help them understand the services that they are rendering to those people who are the end users of the product that they serve. And there might be some attributes. There might be some attributes to this, but I think South Africans deserve better than what they're getting today.
You think it's the whole crime pattern or the trajectory of it has improved, and that South Africa should not be labeled as the murder capital or a safe haven for criminals?
Look, I think there is room for improvement. But the crime stats shows you that contact crime, this is the most fearful crime. No one wants to come across. You see, if you've got a car and someone steals your car, it happens in your absence. But if someone comes and fetch your car and rob you of your car, that is taking place right in front of you. This is the crimes which the police, I think, they must work very hard and deal with. Is it anything? Are we improving? Are we doing good? I can tell you that for as long as these crimes keeps on rising, it tells you that we are not winning a battle, the battle against crime.
Well, that's very little comfort, Mr. Kunika. But let's take another caller. Philip in Kagiso, good evening to you.
All right, Cindy, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Cindy. In fact, Cindy, myself, about the police of today, really, they are not doing their job, and then they are associated themselves with the criminals. And I think there is too much rights for the police. That's why maybe they are forgetting that they are saving the people. Even now, we are afraid to give the police the information, because really the police of today, they are no longer the same with the previous police. So really, we don't know where to complain to.
Yeah,
you phone them.
Philip, but you also have evidence that there has been an involvement of police in criminality, or is this an anecdotal situation you're talking about?
Yeah, but Cindy, although I don't have that evidence personal, but you can see on the televisions, and then every now and then, if you go to the taverns, you'll find the cars being parked there. They are drinking. You go to the braai, you'll find them there, park their vehicle, eating. You don't know what time do they service the community. If you phone them, and then they will say we don't have
the same sentiment Bob was saying in eThekwini. Phillips, thanks so much for your call. Anonymous in Pretoria, good evening to you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am good. I should think the whole justice seems to be blamed here. Why I'm saying this? There is a house that I know at the corner, it's Boam and Margaret Street. There are plenty of TVs that are stolen there. Those guys, they dish them out to Pakistanis and stuff like. If you send subs guys there, it shows that there is a relationship between them and those guys. And sometimes when you ask those guys under normal circumstance, why are you not scared of doing this? They will keep on saying, no, it's easy. In court, so long as you don't have evidence, you will be out. That's number one. Number two, at corner Paul Kruger and Bruce, there is a place where they do the scrap metal and stuff. There are guys who work for Telkom. They normally get in there with their luggages. They drop the cables. Is it greenish and reddish cables? Seems like those guys, they rip them off and they take the inner part of it. Now, there's other things that I cannot talk over to, but I'm challenging the subs to call me if you can dish the number out. Because there are some incidents that I cannot quote out here whereby murders are involved. You'll find that the charges are dropped provincially. And you ask yourself a question. This person, we submitted the state witness. This person was under arrest. At the end of the day, is out. Then you will be told that the charges are dropped provincially. At some stage, I try to assist the subs. They've given me a reward. The person that I've given to them, he came to me after court and said, I will kill you. You got this much. And I'm challenging whoever in this country to come to me. You have my number there. I will appreciate that. maybe we can try and do something. But I think the whole justice system, it needs to be reviewed because some of the things they open.
My goodness.
They happen openly.
Anonymous, just please leave your details with our producers. Don't hang up the line as yet. And thanks so much for calling. Paulos in DK, in Diepkloof, good evening to you. And we have Luando in Cape Town. We'll come to you in a bit. Hello,
Hello,
Paulos.
Cindy, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm okay. Cindy, I do not trust these stats personally. You know, I don't think they are correct. Unless others they're saying they are stats of reported cases, maybe that would be understood. In Diepkloof, for argument's sake, almost everyone has been a victim of crime. And the one thing that we do not know, we do not see the police visibility, you know. And the police have this tendency of wanting to replace their responsibility in terms of patrol. They want to replace it or to shift it to the volunteers, what we call your patrollers, which are volunteering. And it's a bit unfair. If you can walk around Diepkloof, you can drive around Diepkloof for more than 5 hours at night, you know. And I'm telling you, you won't even see a single police vehicle. As a result, the community of Diepkloof even suggested a march and request the police station to close down because it's not assisting them. People are being robbed daylight. They are being attacked in their houses and hijacking, it's even worse.
Yeah, so Paulos, are you introducing, are you maybe also suggesting we should have what we commonly had Ekwatema, a comrade who would then patrol the streets and, you know, more community involvement to deal with this matter? Because as Mr. Kunika, to his defense from the police, you can't police every crime because some of it happens behind closed doors.
Now that is the problem. The police are, you know, are shifting, are using that, you know, as a blame to say the community must do it themselves. What are they doing? What are they being employed for? You know, they're getting salaries on a daily basis. They seem not to care. Instead, the police vehicles that you would see are the ones that will go and collect money from the drug dealers, which are popularly known.
Paulos, this is an indictment. I hope Police Minister Fikile Mbalula is watching. Otherwise, we're happy to send him the recordings and your insight and sentiments as well. Let's take Luando in Cape Town. Good evening to you.
Hi, Luando. Hi, Cindy, sorry.
Hi, Cindy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Firstly, hello to the viewers at home. I just want to make a comment to the gentleman there in the studio. You see, I think he thinks naive by defending subs like that because firstly, I think subs they are very cowardly sometimes on how they conduct themselves. They need to train their people, subs need to train their people adequately. You understand? Yeah, I stay here in Cape Town, and I'm sure other places also in South Africa. The level of crime is escalating by day, and the criminals are getting even more confidence because most of the police are on their payroll. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't think it's fair for the gentleman to defend subs like that, like they're doing a great job. They are doing absolutely less that is expected from them. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Luando, let's just give Mr. Kunika an opportunity to respond very briefly. Scathing criticism against the police, the involvement in criminal activity. Yeah. Just respond to that if you will.
It is a huge institution. It's 199,000 member strong police force. There will be those few pockets of people who are going to get involved in these kind of things. But we need a very strong command and control system in place to make sure that we are able to govern those that are in front of us. And we also have to make sure that, just to answer on the issue of whether I'm not protecting the police, and I will never protect the police, but we as communities have got a role to play in policing. We have to make sure that we take policing into our confidence. We make sure that we take control of policing. If we don't do that, the police will continue to act with impunity. We don't want that to happen. And South Africans need to wake up and do this. We have to work together.
Yeah. But what about the protection of whistleblowers or those that report crime?
You see, there are measures in place which protects the whistleblowers. If you have, given information and you feel that your life is at stake, and the police also assesses the information that you have given, then you must be prepared to go into the witness protection plan as well. But you know what happened here is that members of the society give in good information at a later stage, then they withdraw. Or we then request them to say, come, let us take you into the witness protection environment. They don't want their freedom of movement to be curtailed. But that's the only method available to safeguard your
All right,
life.
Mr. Kwinika, thanks indeed for coming through. That's Paul Kwinika, President of the South African Policing Union. And you, our most valued panelists, thanks indeed for calling in. We continue on social media. For now, though, we take a break and we'll see you on the other side.